You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
You've had a long day at work, and you can't wait to just get home, take off your shoes, plop yourself down in your favorite chair, and relax. You walk up to your tranquil residential home and your neatly manicured lawn in your quiet suburban neighborhood, put the key in the lock, open the door, and... Yes, the pets have gone wild! What were you thinking? Welcome to the show about everything you always wanted to know about exotic pets. Where to get them, what to feed them, and how to care for them. You'll even find out why some people live with a monkey. Now, here's your host, exotic pet expert and author, Bob Tarte. Hey, Bob, what were you thinking?
Pet Life Radio, people. Hi, here we are. We are in the parking lot, Bob Tarte and book character Bill Holm of Briskets to Go in Oregon, Ohio, bringing you the best in beef brisket. Just call Briskets to Go, and they are letting us, well, actually, they don't know we're here. We're just hiding in the parking lot in the pouring rain. Hi, Bill.
What?
Book character Bill Holm and I are here for our fabulous yearly Magee Marsh extravaganza show, and this is our feather-brained Magee Marsh show, kicking off the very beginning of the book launch of my brand new birding book, Featherbrained. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bob may be a little too shy to talk about his book himself, so I think it's important that I say a few words about it. That really, it's the best book Bob has ever written, and it could be the best pet memoir ever written.
Really? Well, first of all, that's sort of faint praise saying it's the best book I've ever written.
True.
And second of all, which pets were you referring to? Since it's about wild birds and birding.
Well, I guess I haven't really read the book yet.
No, but we do have an endorsement. There is a blurb on the back cover of Featherbrained from Mark Obamchick, who wrote The Big Year, which is probably the best-selling birding book that is not a field guide in the world. So he wrote a blurb and he called it, quote, lovely memoir, end quote. He said more, but that was really the only thing that really...
Did he say what was lovely about it?
So we're here for the warbler migration.
I think it was probably the cover photo taken by...
Book character Bill Holm took the cover photo, and it was funny because it's a photo of me with a Baltimore Oriole on my head, feather-brained. And Bill, what are the odds of that bird landing on my head while you were taking my picture?
Well, they increased when I did my special bird call with the special bird-attracting fluid.
Right, and that's a good story in the book,
It's
too.
in the book.
That's a good story. And book character Bill Holm is in Featherbrained a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Not enough, but much more than the other books, which is why it's the best book Bob has ever written.
Thank you. And it's a book about birding. The subtitle is My Bumbling Quest to Become a Birder and Find a Rare Bird on My Own.
It's a fine blurb. I haven't read the blurb, but now that you talk about it, it sounds like a pretty good blurb.
It is a good blurb. So we are here for, I can't believe it's been a whole year since you and I have done a show together.
Really? A whole year?
Yeah, I can't believe it. And, you know, listeners to Pet Life Radio know that I do one podcast a year. And I got to tell you, I think maybe I need to slow down a little bit because I don't know if I can keep up this pace for much longer.
And you can hear it in your voice. It's sounding a little hoarse, a little strained.
I am a little strained, but we're going to push ahead. It's been a very rainy day so far, hasn't it?
It's been intermittent rain, if you want to call that a rainy day.
At one point, the rain was so bad, I'm glad that we had a GPS going because you couldn't see in front of you at all, right?
Not a bit.
Nope. So the only way we were able to proceed is that Bill just kept his eye on the GPS, and he was just steering to keep the little car on the little road, and we made it.
Technology is incredible.
Yeah. And it's a good thing, though, we had a background in this, in a way, because when we were growing up, Bill and I, if there wasn't anything on the 2 TV channels in town, we would go down to the county fair to the Penny Arcade, and we would play that racing game. It was, 3 games for a nickel?
That was great fun. I agree that I don't think I could have done it if not for that.
No, there was just a steering wheel, and you had to keep the Indy car on the road. Mm-hmm. And you were the best at that. You won a Cupid doll.
I did, yes. And I gave it to a little cutie.
Yeah, I was going to say, we won't talk too much about the Cupid doll that you won. So anyway, I figured there was a 50-50 chance of it being really rainy today because that's what Magic8ballweather.com told me. Mm-hmm. And rain all day today and rain all day tomorrow. So that's what Magic 8 Ball Weather said.
What else did it say?
It said, outcome uncertain, ask again.
Mm-hmm. I thought it might have said forecast cloudy.
Oh, Magic 8 Ball.
Yes.
So I packed a raincoat.
We ate a lunch that has sort of affected my thinking.
Yes. You're a little sharp, pretty sharp and fast. Pretty fast reaction. Here, let me point to something we'll get to a little later just to...
man.
Just remember that.
Just so our audience understands what's going on here, because this is not video yet, but I understand that that's a possibility.
Yes. I hear chipping sparrow, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah, I heard something like that, too. But to tell you the truth, sometimes we rehearse particularly important moments in the podcast that we know have to be exactly right, especially in this one, because, frankly, I want it to be the best one we've ever done.
Right. So
in honor of your new book, Featherbrained, available from the University of Michigan Press.
University of Michigan Press, I didn't mention that. This is published by an academic press.
Yes, and there is so much academic knowledge and stuff like that in the book, I understand. I mean, I haven't read it, but I understand that one can learn a lot.
Yes.
From reading Featherbrained?
Yes, and any success it achieves will be purely academic.
But the point is that
there's a lot of tips from birders. There's many birders mentioned and quoted in Featherbrained.
Yes, I've read a few reviews. Well, I haven't read them.
No. Did you read the parts of the book that you're in? Go to bobtarte.com.
I'm waiting for the Kindle edition to come out because I want to search for Bill and see what comes up.
Right.
And just read those parts.
Good idea.
But the point is that since we want it to be the best one, that we do rehearse, and I've had trouble with the hilarity that's to come, and I'm a little nervous about it, and I just want to do that as kind of a teaser.
I appreciate that. And, we do occasionally rehearse parts of our podcast. Other times we just do it completely cold without any rehearsal, and we do that when we want it done right.
Well, yeah.
So with all the rain coming, I packed a raincoat this time.
You did.
And, the last time I wore a rubber coat, though, was when I battled Catwoman. So...
Catwoman?
Yes. It's the last time I wore a rubber coat. I also had a hood with ears on it.
Did you really?
I did. So...
where did you live?
And also, I packed an extra pair of pants.
Oh.
Because it's so rainy. It's so rainy because I don't want to get soaked. Because a couple years ago, I got soaked, and I was birding at Magee Marsh without pants, and it led to a terrible misunderstanding, and I don't want that to happen again.
A misunderstanding?
Yes, we don't want to go into it. The law was involved, and it was ugly. It was ugly.
Well, yes.
I brought some filthy shoes, too, because of the weather conditions. So I brought a pair of filthy shoes with me, and I also bought some shoes with me for walking in the rain and the mud.
I see.
That's what you call the old switchoroo. That gag is a
That's
switcheroo.
a good one. Boy, it took me by surprise.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot
I thought the misunderstanding one needed a little more payoff, frankly. But
Well,
that one was right on.
Well, the misunderstanding could be a switcheroo that's coming later. There's a lot of switcheroos in my new book, Featherbrained.
Well, it's true.
Although that's more bait and switch, isn't it? So it's going to be a little bit gloomy while we're taking bird pictures, while I'm taking bird pictures. So
we're always gloomy taking bird pictures.
We are. So I brought a little gizmo I haven't tried before to help me.
I see. And what was that? Let me take a look at that. Wow. I don't even know what that is.
Let me turn it on.
Seem to be struggling with it a little bit.
And it's a flash.
It is?
It's a flash. And I brought that because I've taken a few bird pictures with the flash. And I want to point out, though, that I've dialed down the power because we don't want to do anything that would disrupt the birds. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to show you that this is not a very strong...
Wait a minute.
Very strong flash.
Yeah.
So I'm going to flash it.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to flash it. So I'm just going to prepare. And you'll see that this will not hurt our feathered friends at all. Okay? You ready? Here it comes. Ow! Ah! Oh! Where'd you go?
Oh!
Okay, I can't see my notes now. I don't think it'll bother Bill. Bill! Oh, just having a little fun with the
That blew me right out of the car.
No kidding. Whoa. Okay, I better turn it off. Maybe I better dial it down a little more.
Ooh.
So that's going to be the experiment, and we will share with our listeners how well this taking flash photos with my brand new flash attachment works at Magee Marsh. I saw people taking pictures of a prothonotary warbler a few years ago with flashes. So
I did too. That was one of the most amazing moments at Magee Marsh, when the little bird perched on this sort of little scraggly tree at the top, and all the birders rushed around it like little fangirls and taking these flags. It was like a little celebrity up there posing for photos on the runway.
And what's really interesting about that, too, is that that's a story that's told in Featherbrain. And
I think I might have told it on the previous podcast as well.
And also, you were waiting for a tie-in with the forgetting to wear pants while I was birding episode.
Oh.
And that kind of ties in with what I just showed you, which was flashing.
Oh, I see. Boy, that was worth it.
That was worth it. Yeah. And speaking of worth the trip, what we're going to do a little while, too, and this was a popular feature last time, and that is Guess the Recording Artist.
Oh.
Because last time around, I stumped Bill because I played a recording by the famous Welsh vocalist Richard Harris. In Camelot, Camelot, that's how conditions... Oh. Someone left the cake out in the rain. And I remember you thought it was the French vocalist Anthony Newley.
I did. I was embarrassed when I found out the real answer.
So this time around, I'm not going to do it yet. We're going to do it a little later. But I'm going to play a baffling track for you that is not characteristic of this artist. And I'm not going to tell you anything about the artist. I'm just going to tell you one thing about the mystery artist. You're going to have to wait until you hear the track. But the mystery artist is not an artist that in the past I've ever expressed any interest in. Okay?
Oh, Jerry Garcia.
Well, did you look? Did you see the CDs I brought?
No. I just had a sort of, I think that flash kind of...
That's amazing.
Like being struck by lightning in my brain.
How'd you get it from one hint?
Well, it was a dead giveaway.
Oh! Well, that was worth a climb, wasn't it?
Yep, and that was the joke that I was referring to earlier that had been so difficult for me, and I did a pretty good job, I think.
You did. Well, we're just about at the break. And so I think when we do part 2 later, we can talk about the simulcast that we're going to be doing on a radio station. And also, I'd like to leave it at this, that I do hope we're not mobbed at Magee Marsh because of Featherbrained.
It happened last year.
It did.
And it's going to be even worse this year.
Yeah, remember what happened last year where 3 young ladies recognized me.
Yes, they did.
And I was quite a hit.
You certainly were. I mean, they were gathered around you, and you were charming them. I was standing off to the side, observing. I was saying, well, my God, the power of celebrity.
And this year, Bill, your picture is in Featherbrained.
It is?
Yes, your photo is in Featherbrained, my new book from the University of Michigan Press. And so I think we are both in danger of being mobbed like an owl by crows at a nest.
Are there other photos in the book?
There are, Bill. There is a photo for every chapter of the book, and then a couple left over.
Where do they go?
They just fall out. So open the book carefully. So we'll be back after we have dodged some raindrops in our yearly podcast from Magee Marsh, and we are headed there now, and we'll let you know how it is. You're listening to Pet Life Radio. This is What Were You Thinking with Bob Tarte and...
Bill Holm. The radar says that we might actually get some birding in today.
Okay, let's go. Let's start her up and let's head out. All right, here we go.
What Were You Thinking? We'll be right back after Bob gets the ducks out of his living room. Don't go away.
You know that feeling when you go to clean the litter box and it's a complete disaster? Yeah, we've got you covered. Introducing World's Best Cat Litter Zero Mess, the advanced litter that gives you 2 times better clumping and more odor control with less litter. Zero Mess combines the concentrated power of corn with super absorbent plant fibers. Translation: scoop once and you're done. Find it at a pet store near you and save $2. Visit www.saveonworldsbest.com.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
The standard run-of-the-mill tests and treatments.
Cortisone.
Antihistamine.
Multiple creams, antibiotics, spray. Multiple prescriptions.
Steroid injections.
Spray shots, antibiotics. Steroid creams.
No results.
It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to take care of him and to give him the nutrition he needed.
A nutritional supplement like Dynovite.
To be the healthy, happy dog he is today. DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy. Put some nutrition in your dog. The vet that I trust recommended Dynovite. The dog I have today, because of Dynovite, has a sparkle in his eye, a lush coat, healthy skin.
When you rescue a dog, you've got to feed him right for life.
Dynovite will make your dog a happy dog. Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Hi, I'm Dana Humphrey, the founder of Whitegate PR. We have been specializing in PR and marketing in the pet industry for over 10 years. If you have a pet product or service you would like to promote, give us a call. We can help create awareness for your brand on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, and blogs. Feel free to reach me directly at 619-414-9307 or learn more on our website at whitegatepr.com or follow us on Facebook.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Okay, ducks are in the pond, rabbits in his hutch, and monkeys... Ow! In my car! Oh, okay, well, I go check my insurance policy. We'll turn you back over to Bob.
Hi, we're back. You are listening to What Were You Thinking with Bob Tarte, author of Enslave and all those other books, and his newest book, Featherbrain, published by University of Michigan Press, and...
Starring me, book character Bill Holm.
Star of...
Stage, screen, and Featherbrained.
All right. So we went... I have an exciting announcement to make about our podcast, but before I get to that, you'll be more excited to hear about our birding and how it went at Magee Marsh. It did not go quite as we anticipated, did it, Bill?
No, and I certainly hope that our excitement about it is conveyed through the audio medium.
I think it's coming through. I think your excitement level is palpable.
I can feel it.
I can feel it. I'm getting palpitations just listening to you. So would you like to describe what we ran into at Magee Marsh?
High winds.
Very high winds.
Cold temperatures.
Very cold temperatures.
And very few people.
Very few people.
But that worked out for the best because the real good birders didn't bother to show up. So it was just us.
People like us.
People like us, and people just hanging around. They were fairly friendly and affable and willing to talk and say, hello, how are you?
And it was nice because I would see some bird, I didn't know what it was, and so, or maybe had a question about it, and I'd go and ask somebody. They didn't know either. And isn't life like that sometimes? So it was very cold.
It's the wind off the lake.
It is. The wind off Put-in Bay.
Yeah.
And it was reaching us all the way, because we're right now in Port Clinton. And it reached us all the way from, I guess it took a little detour into Lake Erie just north of where we were in Magee Marsh. Maybe it blew in off the estuary.
The wind?
Yes.
The wind itself blows.
It does, and we shall have snow. And it was cold. It was cold. I had to put on my rubber jacket, and I looked around us for Catwoman, but I didn't see her.
I saw a cat bird.
We saw many cat birds.
Might have been a female. But it's hard to tell, isn't it, the male from the female catbird?
It is, even in North Carolina. And despite the fact that, see, here was a problem that, now I'm glad I wasn't mobbed, because we were talking about how last year those 3 lady birders made quite the fuss over me, and I was a little bit embarrassed.
Oh, I understandably so. I stood back and just let you just drink in all the adulation, and I looked down and said, now I want to be like that someday.
That's right, the sweet, sweet mead of adulation I drunk in. And so this year I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give away a copy of Featherbrained to the 90th person who recognized me.
Really?
That's what I had decided, to the 90th, in honor of my upcoming 90th birthday. But there weren't even 90 people total on the boardwalk, do you think?
I was going to make that very same point, that there probably weren't 90 people on the boardwalk.
Nope, I counted 89.
Mm-hmm. Well, I only counted 87.
Okay, all right. Well, I counted us.
Oh!
And then that brought us up to 89. I was hoping you'd be number 90, and then I wouldn't have to give any books away. But despite the fact that it was such slim pickings and Earl Scruggs, we still managed to see 8 warbler species, and I hoyed another one, the common yellowthroat. Witchety, witchety, witchety. The common yellowthroat.
I think the first part of our podcast was really good.
I do too.
Yeah. The whole thing can't be the best ever.
Well, just you wait.
Okay.
Because I have a story in a minute. But
oh, you do?
Yeah. But anyway, then after, because this is our Magee Marsh birding podcast, and remember, we still have a little more of that in, because we've only burned up 4 minutes.
Really? It really seems like about 12.
Yeah, and of those 4 minutes, only about 2 have been about Magee Marsh. So after that, we did not go on the estrogen trail because it was so windy.
It was very windy.
I only had one
an unpredictable wind.
I only had one rubber jacket, and if I would have had to go on the estrogen trail, it was so cold and so disorienting, I would have been ready for a rubber room. So maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow we ought to get our testosterone in order and go on the estrogen trail. What do you say? What do you say, man?
Let's do it.
All right. And then we went to the Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, which is right next door to Magee Marsh / Crane Creek. And we went on the...
It's a duplex, in fact.
It is a duplex. And we went on the auto tour. Mm-hmm. Now, I was thinking as the auto tour, it would be like a hook would clip onto your car, and like at the car wash, because that would be a real auto tour where you wouldn't have to do anything, it'd just be automatic, and you'd just be pulled along, and you could hang out the window and flap your arms at the birds and just enjoy yourself. But you had to drive, didn't you?
I did have to drive. It didn't stop me from hanging my arms out the window and flapping.
No, it did not. And but I was a little put out because I was telling Bill, really the best way to go on a auto tour at a wildlife refuge is to really hit the trail at 40, 55 miles an hour, something like that.
It's the best way to see them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, because otherwise the birds, they just kind of hang around the sides of the road. But if you're honking your horn and driving fast, you get to see a lot more birds because they just scatter.
That's an excellent point. And we did see a lot of birds that way. We also made some people scatter, which was really fun.
Yeah, I like that, especially if they're on the side of the road with their scope, looking at some shorebird, and you zip by like that, and you have the doors open. Whoa.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
So that was good birding.
He was surprised.
Yeah. But we saw some good birds there. We saw trumpeter swans. We saw a loon. We saw eagles. How many eagles do you think we saw?
At least 4.
Yeah, I would say so. And a semi-palmated plover, which I only found because of a gentleman with a scope after we picked him up, because we stopped after the car door hit him and helped him to his feet, and then we said, "Who did that? Who did you see that guy?" And he thought we were his rescuers, and then he showed us the semi-palmated plover. We saw Caspian terns. And talk about your dunlins.
Those were dunlins.
They were dunlins.
Why don't you talk about them?
Well, we saw hundreds of them.
I didn't realize they were all dunlins.
Yep. So, you dunlin? Now, here's some exciting news.
Oh.
We'll get back to the birding exploits, as interesting as they are, and talk more about feather-brained. I'd like to say the exciting news is that our show is being simulcast.
Really?
Yes, by WCHIEF AM 1480 in Chief Point, Michigan. Now, that's in northern Michigan in Ogowowo County. And so that's a county of 3,000 strong up there. And
what are they known for?
They are known for their fall livestock and fertility festival.
Yes.
They have a parade every year. And they have a famous acrobat named the Little Fellow who is known around the world. And they were interested in our show, and they're simulcasting it. And so right now, while we're talking, while we're speaking, it is going out on the air on WCHIEF AM 1480 Chief Point, Michigan. And the interesting thing about the way the simulcast works is that anytime you folks either stream or download the show, as you're listening to it, it switches on a relay switch. I think it's a reed switch at the transmitter, and it cuts in and it broadcasts our show. Automatically. So that they might be in the middle of, playing a song by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and say someone named Laura in Champaign, Illinois, decides that she wants to hear the Featherbrain Magee Marsh show and just starts streaming it. All of a sudden, Frankie Valli is just about singing Swear to God, and it stops and switches over to us.
Does that cause swearing in itself?
It might. It absolutely might. I would like to caution people, though, that severe weather season is coming to Upper Michigan in probably, Chief Point is pretty far north, but I would say in the middle of July. So I would ask people to please exercise a little caution before you stream the show or listen to a podcast. Please check what the weather is going to be like in Chief Point, Michigan, because if there's a weather emergency, people might be in their basements listening to the radio, hoping for weather information, and suddenly it's this show. So, Laura, that's especially for you. Yeah.
Now, that is interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting, I've been promising a story about my socks.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think we have time to tell that story.
5 minutes have passed?
Actually, 11 minutes have passed, yeah. So we have time for that story, and that story is pretty interesting.
Do tell.
Well, for my birthday, Linda bought me some, I don't know the actual name brand, but they're gold toe socks. You've heard of those, haven't you?
They're called gold toe socks.
Okay. But did you know there's also some silver toe socks?
I did not.
Yes.
I did not.
Yep.
I don't believe it.
I think it's true. I think it's the same company, gold toe socks and silver toe socks. So
is there a bronze toe?
I haven't seen them, but here's what happened. I mixed a pair up when I was folding them because Linda has so many chores to do and I have to relieve her of some of the chores. So I was folding and putting away my own socks. And I mixed them up, and it turned out I had one gold toe sock on one foot, that was on the left foot. On the right foot, I had a silver toe sock. So I was out in the barn, and I stepped on a steel plate, and I turned into a storage battery.
You did?
I did.
You did?
I turned into a storage battery. However, I am neither capable of accumulating nor releasing energy.
Well, yes, it does defy the laws of physics. Well, what did you do? I mean,
it filled me full of love. And I hope some of that love is coming out in this broadcast because it's my love for the What Were You Thinking show. It's my love for all of my Featherbrain readers.
Oh, of course.
And for all the folks who have appeared in my book. All of the many... We'll do another show just talking about Featherbrain, about all of the people who are in that book, because there's a big cast.
There would be no Featherbrained if it weren't for all of those people.
There would not. There would not. There would be a brainless. That's all it would be.
Empty head.
Yeah. I was wondering, do you think with all this good material we have, I didn't even get to the good food I packed for my trip. I decided that, traveling is hard on the human body, and that, here, let me get over here and...
Where are you going?
The food I brought on this trip, so I can eat a little healthy on this trip. Yeah, let's see what we got here in the bag. We got, first of all, windmill cookies.
Oh, well.
And, if that ain't enough, jelly beans.
Let me see those jelly beans. I want to see what the one I had this afternoon was that was a green color. I think it might be supposed to have been kiwi. There's what people can't see what I'm doing right now, can they? Because this isn't on video.
No, it is on video.
Oh, forget it then. That's the end of my story.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll see. Tomorrow we're going to go back to Magee Marsh and hope that it's not raining and cold and freezing. And we're going to do a little more birding. And I don't know, do you think we have enough material for a part 2 of a podcast, considering we barely even filled the second half of this podcast?
I think I think the fact that we have pretty much filled up this part bodes well for tomorrow, no matter what.
Because we're empty now.
Exactly.
We're totally empty.
Exactly.
So we're going to leave you on that empty note. And thank you.
I have a feeling of emptiness. I know that.
Yes, I do too. So thank you for listening to Pet Life Radio. Thank you to listening to it either as a podcast or on WCHIEF AM 1480, Chief Point, Michigan. All our friends say a big hearty fertility festival hello to everyone in Ogowowo County, Northern Michigan. Thanks to our producer, Mark Winter.
Always.
And you can email me at bob@petliferadio.com. Please go to bobtarte.com and look up lots of information. We didn't talk about the tons of photos and just all the fun on my website, all the fun that's associated with featherbrain.
There's probably not as much fun on the website as there has been today on this during our podcast.
Well, we don't want people to just split their sides open laughing unless, I don't know, there's some kind of medical attention nearby.
Absolutely.
Okay, so bye.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions. Where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tarte. Every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.